you guys ever looked at like a Yelp review, or I guess this technically fits into anything, like any kind of review, and found out one person that was like, this is the worst burger I've had of my entire life. This is the worst movie I've ever seen. This is the worst game I've ever played. There's always that one person that had an especially terrible experience, and you're probably just sitting there wondering like, I go here all the time. They make the best burgers. I love this movie. I've seen it 10,000 times. I play this game for hours and hours. What happened to you to not like that? This is exactly what this video is. At this point, you can see the title. I have no idea how I'm going to title it or what the thumbnail is going to be, but I know what I'm talking about. BGS. I just got my BGS card back today, and I'll tell you right now what the score is, because I know, because this is something that went back and forth with them for like the last couple of weeks now. I'm actually happy at the grade. We got a BGS 8.5 First Appearance Lugia. Now, if you guys know anything about this card, I've been hunting this card down for like the last like year and a half. And if you guys remember, actually, it was Z&G Emporium who came across this card from a random seller, and they sold for a good price, a $700 card. This is a $700 purchase, I should say. And if you guys remember, I sent this to PSA as an express grade. PSA actually got that express grade to me, which I think cost like $200 at the time, back in literally 5 days. You know, and if you guys remember, it came back as a PSA 6, and I felt like it should have gotten way better, because the only issue that this card has, if you can see, is like that little thing at the top. It looks like it's a bend. It's not a bend. It's just the way that the card is printed. Like, these cards had horrible printing, if you guys don't know a history of them. So yeah, I felt like a PSA 6 didn't make much sense. Maybe the grader at the time thought that these are all bends, and that's why they gave it the grade they gave it. And BGS, as you can see, they gave it a 9.5 in centering, an 8.5 in the corners, edges a 7.5, and a surface 9, which is basically the damage we're talking about over here. 8.5 is probably what I would have given this card as well. But that's not what we're going to talk about. It's not the grade that's the issue. It's the issue of the service itself. I'm one of those people that has never had a good experience using BGS. Not in regards to the grades that I get. The 2 times I've used BGS in the past, I think the grades that I received were, they made sense. My issue is how bad their service is. For a company that's been around for a long time, I should say, and supposed to be like the leaders in this industry, it is terrible. For starters, if you never use BGS, if you go on a website, there's no way to track your shipment. This is what I hate. As a collector, anybody can relate with me on this. As a collector, when you send your card off to get graded, or your cards to get graded, you have this like feeling of anxiety, like, did they get the card? Is it gonna get lost in the process? Is it gonna get there in time? And the thing that I love about PSA is the second they receive your package, they tell you on their website. You can track it, like it is currently in the receipt state, it is in the research state, it's in the grade state, we're sending it back to you state. Like, you know what's happening with your cards. BGS, all you know is they received your card, and that's because the actual tracking number that you provide with USPS, FedEx, or UPS says it's been received. But the thing is, you don't know who received it. These don't enter their system until they start grading it. Speaking of the system, their system is incredibly bad. And the reason why I say that is again, this is one of those things that's super only basically affecting me. I was trying to see what the pop report was for this card. As you can see, you get the serial number like every card. But when you look it up, it says this card doesn't exist. And I'm like, how is that possible? I know this exists. You guys just graded it, number 1. And 2, I know a bunch of people that own BGS 9s, BGS 8.5s, BGS 8s. How does this card not exist? For some reason, their system is just so janky right now that you can't even look this card up. So I couldn't even see how many exist because their system is weird. I don't know if they just label it wrong or what. Maybe it was down when I was looking up. By the time this video goes up, maybe they might fix it. I have no idea. I just know that I try to look up to see how many 8.5s exist, how many 9s exist, and it just says 0. I'm like, that's not right. But again, it's beside the point. This is not a rant about their system. I mean, I'm only bringing their system up because I want to change. What I'm going to be ranting about is the process it took to get this card back. And I'm pretty sure to this day that they actually lost it. Again, when I got this card back, you know, early this year, I sent it to PSA under the Super Express grade, and I got it back literally in a week. It cost $200. I think it's cost like $300 now to get the Super Express level service. But it took a week for $200. I'm like, okay, cool. We'll send it to BGS because I like the cases better, especially for these top cards. Let's see what we get. A week passes, nothing. That's fine. You know, I know they're delayed. Another week passes, still nothing. I'm like, okay, 2 weeks. Maybe they'll start grading it out. Another week passes, literally nothing. So I'm like, okay, it's been 3 weeks now. Again, I get it. BGS is backed up. PSA is backed up. Even CGC is backed up. This is normal. I started asking around, and all my friends who use BGS frequently were like, oh, yeah, I've been doing premium for like the past couple months. It's great. I get it back within a week. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean? Like, they grade a card in a week? It's like, no. I'll mail it out on Monday, and I have it back by Friday. They're fast. And I'm like, that's not right. So I emailed them, and I'm like, hey, I just want to check in on my card. It was the premium level. Do you know anything? No response. I'm like, okay, no response. Cool. Another week passes, and I try not to be annoying, and I feel like I should be more annoying because at the end of the day, this is my product. I'm the customer. And I'm like, I'm not getting any response. What's going on? I finally get a response. It's like, hey, we're looking into it. It's been escalated. I'm like, oh, great, perfect. Which means probably by the end of this week, I should get it back, or the process to grade will start. No, nothing. Another week passes. I'm like, hey, you escalated. What does that mean? I got another email that literally just says, I escalated again. We'll let you know as soon as possible. And I'm like, wasn't it escalated last week? What's different now? Nothing. I take it to Twitter. I start tweeting to like, yo, they've had these cards literally for over a month now. And again, keep in mind, I specifically chose the 10 to 15 day submission because I wanted this card back as soon as possible. If I wanted a 2-month submission, I would have just done a 2-month submission. No response. I'm like, okay, cool. I guess I'll just get this back whenever I get it back. Then like a couple more days passed. I talked to more of my friends who were just recently sending stuff into BGS and they were getting the cards back. And at this point, I'm annoyed. So I sent them another email saying, where is my card? I need to know. Did you lose it? Just let me know right now. We can file the insurance, whatever. Just let me know if you lost it. And then I finally got a response that we're looking into it. I posted another tweet and I get in contact with whoever was running the Twitter account, and they were like, you know, we'll connect you with the rep. We'll figure something out. We'll figure out what's going on. So that's when I emailed them. I'm like, hey, just so you know, I did choose the premium level for a reason. Are you still going to charge me for that? Because at this point, this falls under the express level of return, which is 2 months. No, we're still going to charge you $300. I'm like, I'm starting to think to myself, how is that possible? Like, I paid for a service and I didn't get it. Now I get it. Whenever you send stuff off to, you know, to grading, usually if it says 10 days, it's more like 20. If it says 20 days, it's actually 3 months. If it says 3 months, it's probably a year. However, again, keep in mind, everybody else I know was getting their cards back within 5 days. I've been asking around, and I hadn't had a single person had an issue with the premium level grade. So I'm like, what is happening? Why am I the one? We finally get to last week, and I'm like, I need to know what's going on at this point. It's been 2 months. I can't even get this card right now if I wanted to because it's very expensive. On top of that, it just never pops up for sale. Like, I need to know what's happening. And they're like, yeah, we're trying to figure it out, man. I have no idea. And I'm like, how is a company that's been around for this long? Like, how are you guys just lost? I don't get it. Then they finally started getting to the bottom of it midweek last week, and they're like, we figured it out, we found it, we're gonna start, you know, the whole process. We're also looking into two other orders, which, by the way, I just sent 2 more orders a year ago, but those are under the regular submission, and I expect to get them back at some point in the next, I don't know, 4 years. Honestly, this is the one I'm mostly concerned about, is just the fact that, you know, it was under the premium level. Whenever those cards get graded, the other ones, whatever. But this is all I really cared about at this point. And I finally get a submission on Friday, or an email on Friday that says, we're starting your grading. Don't worry, you'll get it back soon. And an hour later, I kid you not, an hour later, I get an email that says, shipped. And I'm like, so you started processing it and shipped it all within the same hour. So you can grade it pretty fast. So what happened? I'm like, maybe they're gonna make it right, and I'm gonna see a charge that just says like $150 or whatever their level is for the step below premium. Nope. Still get charged $315, and I'm like, cool, awesome, yeah, this is fantastic. Don't even get an apology, don't get nothing, none of that stuff. They did mention that they were gonna find my other orders and try to push them through. Didn't happen. But again, for those, it's fine. I sent them in under their regular submission levels. So I expect to get them back again at some point in the next couple of years. I'll be real with you. I know it sounds like I'm joking, but I'm serious. That's how long it takes these companies to grade it. But still, it just pisses me off that essentially this was just sitting in a warehouse or was potentially lost. I have no idea. But the fact that, you know, you can have a customer experience like that is just awful. Again, this is a me thing. A lot of you guys are probably submitting to BGS and PSA and CGC or whatever you used to grade on the weekly on these levels, and you're getting your cards back. That's perfectly fine. But again, if you go through what I went through, you're gonna get to the point where you're just annoyed, and I'm just incredibly annoyed. Like, it's just like, I can't believe that this is a real company. That this is what people could potentially deal with. So that's all I want to let you know. I'm never going to use BGS as long as I live. I thought about, after the pandemic died down, what I thought would be dope is to fly down to Texas and maybe do like what Leonhard does, where he'll bring in a couple of PSA 9 cards, maybe some PSA 10s, and see if I can get a cross grade. But at this point, I don't even want to do that. I don't want to ever use BGS ever again. Outside of 2 submissions that they have from a year ago, I'm never going to use them again. To me, it's dead at this point. I already had a bad experience when I used them a year ago, where before like everything got crazy, I sent them a submission under like I think it was like a 15-day, 20-day turnaround, and it took 3 months to get it back. But this is before it got crazy. The fact that, you know, they were already that delayed before everything went wild was already a red flag. And I knew when I sent them the 2 submissions after that, I'll probably won't get it back for a long time. Especially considering the fact that when I sent those submissions in, I was talking to someone there and they were like, yeah, this is like a 55-day turnaround. It's been over 7 months now. It's not 55 days. I know it got crazier in the last couple months, but that's what I was quoted. I was quoted, you'll get it back within 55 days when I sent it to them. And here we are again. Again, they did mention last week that they are starting to grade these, or they're going to start potentially processing it. I haven't seen anything in my system yet, so I don't know. I likely will probably not get those cards back for the next couple years. But yeah, BGS sucks. Like this is like basically forever going to be tainted to me. I'm happy at the grade, and I knew that this is going to be way better than a PSA 6. I just feel like whoever graded a PSA that time just probably just didn't know what they were doing when it comes down to these. But overall, that's why I share my story. I hate ranting like this. I hate making videos like this, but I feel like I have to. You know, I have to let people know. And again, I'm literally that one guy on Yelp that had the worst burger of all time at your favorite burger place. For all I know, every single one of you that uses BGS, you've never had an issue. But still, part of me feels like had I not had a following, that when I originally tweeted about this, I probably would have never got an answer. For all I know, this probably would have been graded in like 6 to 9 months. And you know what would happen after that? I still would have been charged $300. I guarantee you that's what would have happened. I'm ending the video right here. If BGS happens to see this video, which I know they won't, I just want you guys to improve your system. Have something that tells people when our cards are arrived, like what's happening. Give us some kind of communication. I'm not considering using you again, but as it stands right now, I have no reason to. It's just I had nothing but bad experiences, and I'd rather just stick to, you know, PSA. With that said, if you've ever had any bad experiences with BGS, PSA, or even CGC, let me know down below. Let's see your stories. But other than that, I'm just happy I got my card back, so that's cool. Unfortunately, it was just a big mess to get this back, and it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.